First attempt for practice. As I have to brainstorm on the approach that was taken, is that from the injury date, the 4 different directions that they began with initially, where there was my family, my kids, there was my home and my business, there was my advanced education, and there was the medical approach of self-care. So the idea of what they were able to do is by sending missing information in certain directions, like legally, by telling the courts lies about the actual medical condition, and then they moved things in other ways by telling state agencies and other court districts of New Hampshire different information. So by moving around different information about my actual medical condition and my injury, then they were able to manipulate conditions at my home, which affected things that were in motion at that place, which are tied to the business developments, advanced education, all of it legally bound to what they were able to do when I was injured by hiding medical information from the court proceedings and then bringing that umbrella initially from Department of Health and Human Services in New Hampshire. So injury happened in New Hampshire. I was UMass Medical in Worcester, life-saving surgery, and then from there back to New Hampshire, and the chaos begins. So they were able to spread out information in different ways by misinforming different agencies in different ways, different courts in different ways, and that's why they were able to create such a confusing web of the way that they were exploiting my injury to steal the house, insurance, and all the other parts. So as I continue finding the law citations that are related, the individuals that have been moving the paperwork is really what this is about. The dots are people that have actually moved paperwork on some level, whether it be a medical diagnosis or whether it be something filed at the courts or something that was asked to be signed for Department of Health and Human Services, whatever it may be. All of it relates to the same, how it comes back to the same injury date in the middle, and then how they moved information, these individuals moved information to keep law enforcement confused, to keep the courts confused, to keep the Department of Health and Human Services misinformed deliberately, preventing the recovery while Monadnock Developmental Services was getting funding for the recovery not being provided. Instead, Monadnock Developmental Services was a key component of this coordination because the funding that they were getting for my care, instead of providing it, they used that funding to successfully help Roger and Lynn in the theft of the property, insurance settlement, and everything else, including disability benefits. With disability identity theft, essentially, is what that has been. And by a high-level traumatic brain injury survivor that was a medical anomaly, they capitalized on that feature of my incredibly rare traumatic brain injury survival. It's like 1 in 30 million people come back savant-like. And the fact that I was speaking with the area brain responsible for speech destroyed. German doctors at UMass said that's not possible that he's speaking. So they immediately got me out of Massachusetts into New Hampshire to begin the grid of confusion by getting an unlawful ruling at the probate court in Nashua when I was hospitalized in New Hampshire. And the rest of it is an insane show, but the documentation is available for all of it that backs up every single YouTube video that's been made so far. And I'm going to continue practicing and get one key video clip that will be simple enough, maybe 90 seconds long, that straight up is saying, these are the individuals of Monadnock Developmental Services. These are the individuals of Office of Public Guardianship. These were the court-appointed guardians when I was injured, being blood relatives. This is how these people committed these crimes for this much money. And I'll keep it that simple on that final video.